and look like the team that we kind of expected Oklahoma State to be. They're very much in the mix. Utah's very much in the mix. Kansas State's very much in the mix.
Let's talk about Kansas State and Arizona, where basically the home team big time took care of business for the Wildcats. What was the phrase? Every man a Wildcat, you said?
Email, baby. Every man a Wildcat. First time I saw Kansas State look like Kansas State. I mean, they played really good defense. Fafita was running for his life. They took away T-Mac early in the game. They started force-feeding him when the game was a little bit out of hand. But the running game, the balance, Avery Johnson, that's what I expected to see from Kansas State. That's what I always expect to see from Kansas State is great play calling, great discipline, great tackling. They did a really, really good job running the football, and they're physical, and that's who they are.
Special teams.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, didn't we? Special teams, defense. It's always – they're a program that has to do it the right way. Like, they've been built on that. They've been built on not getting penalties. They've been built on playing great special teams, playing great defense, being a team that prides themselves in not getting a lot of penalties, not turning the football over. And they put on a clinic. And Arizona had zero answers. And Kansas State proved they were right there for the best team in the Big 12. Interesting injury with Cam Rising now. Cam Rising, gets shoved off to the bleachers, messes up his hand. He's out for several weeks. That makes Utah very human. You saw that this past week. So the Big 12, to me, is wide open. The Big 12 is the most fun conference week in and week out. Like, dude, just set your watch. You're going to get great games. Iowa State a couple weeks ago against Iowa, 54-yard field goal at the buzzer. Like, by the way, the kick was good from 60. Like, you're going to consistently get, great games in this conference, and I think it's going to be the most competitive conference in football.
Well, it's one of those leagues where there's not necessarily an elite, but there's no bad. There's no weeks where it's like, okay, I can take a breath this week. No, that every week it's going to be a competitive game, and that's the case. So we talked about Avery Johnson before in the preview, 15 for 124, 92 in design runs. That's one of those where it's okay. If I need to really take the car out and really drive it, they can do that with him very much so. And by the way, it was it was Giddens, not Gideon's. Going to call you out there last week. You kind of messed that up. The Kansas State fans were getting on to you.
He totes it too, by the way.
And by the way, also in the game with 3 minutes to go and they're up 24. And they were giving him the rock.
Don't get me started on that. We see that at the high school level too. I don't understand it, man.
That's a little much. I didn't agree with that. That was one for me. But it's the Big 12. The next few weeks for the Big 12, you got Utah, OK State next week, and then K State gets doesn't have Utah, doesn't have UCF.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Oklahoma State because, the average age of their offensive line is 24. Like, their quarterback's 24. Like, they're just an older group. Arkansas, they had no reason to win that game except for they're an older, experienced group that battled back even when Ollie Gordon wasn't running the football well, found a way to make plays. This past week just boat raced Tulsa and looked like the team that we kind of expected Oklahoma State to be. They're very much in the mix. Utah's very much in the mix. Kansas State's very much in the mix. So Iowa State is going to be very much in the mix. So one of those conferences that, like, literally, if you told me to make a case for a squad, any one of those squads, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Okay, I could do that. So that's what's fun about that league.